We have some major news to bring you here about what the Thunder will be doing with this $30 million in cap space that they have, because there is a glaring problem at the center position, especially for a backup big, as right now it's just Chet Holmgren, and then all of a sudden, when you go to the bench, when you sub him out, the tallest player we can put on the court to try to compete down low is Jay Will, and he's 6'9", and yes, he does some stuff decently, but he's a better 4 than he is a 5, and we try to play him at the 5, and it just doesn't really work out. And so there's a clear need for a backup center. But there were some moves made the other day by a competing team that could potentially land us a backup center and one of the more premier centers in the league that had a breakout season last year. We're talking about Isaiah Hartenstein once again, as there was a recent tweet out there and kind of, articles are being published ever since the Mikal Bridges trade that nothing's really been talked about OG Anunoby and his massive extension that he just signed with the Knicks. But the Thunder are favorites to land Isaiah Hartenstein after Mikal Bridges trade, according to the NBA World. And so it's definitely interesting to look at, okay? On the one hand, we need size, okay? And I think for our bench, instead of running a 5-out offense, it would be better to run more of a, traditional, and maybe, I don't want to say traditional, 4-out style, all right? Have Jay Will at the 4. He can, run this 4-out style, sit in the corner, catch and shoot threes, because he is a decent shooter behind the arc for his size and his position. But having Isaiah Hartenstein down low defensively, first off, is insane, okay? That'd be great for our defense on the second string, because right now it's looking like it could potentially, if we make a trade for power forward, or if we're trying to keep what our lineup was kind of looking like and have Caruso up there, or have Wiggins or Joe step into one of those roles, our defense, first off, for the bench is going to be crazy with Cason Wallace and maybe even Alex Caruso. Add on Isaiah Hartenstein, that'd be great. Jay Will draws an insane amount of charges, so that'd be great as well. So defensively, we'd be set. Offensively, I think it'd be fine to run a 4-out style offense there. Like I was saying with Jay Will, he's a good 3-point shooter for his size and position. You can do a bunch of screen and pop threes with him. Isaiah Hartenstein can run more of a traditional big man role down there, where you can be a bruiser down in the paint. And I think he could compete with a bunch of centers in the league in that position. And he'd definitely be the best backup center in the league. And there are articles talking about this right now, about how the Thunder can pull him away from the Knicks. The first piece that we're going to look at here, all right, it's from Jack Murray. I want to say this came from Bleacher Report, I believe. It came from Bleacher Report. But the 25-year-old averaged 7.8 points, 8.3 rebounds, and 2.5 assists in 75 games for the Knicks in 2023-2024. He accumulated those statistics in 49 starts and averaged 25.3 minutes a game. This was the most starts and minutes he has played in his NBA career. And much of this came due to injuries to Mitchell Robinson, with Robinson set to resume his role as the starter, and with the Knicks bringing in Mikal Bridges and hoping to, this is at the time this article was written, there's nothing been out there, lately with Isaiah Hartenstein because of the draft and everything and this OG Anunoby extension, but OG has signed this insane extension now. So, and talking about this now, when I look at it, what he had to say, and hoping to still sign OG Anunoby in free agency, Hartenstein looks like a luxury it can't afford. So the Knicks, in this situation here, so luxury the Knicks can't afford, is very much true now. After this OG Anunoby extension, trading for Mikal Bridges, I believe they're bringing in one player from the first round for $2 million. I've looked at their second apron. I believe it's $15 to $16 million is what their second apron tax would have to be, going in and extending him if they want to, or re-signing him, I should say. And I think Hartenstein is looking more for that. All right, I think he's looking for more. And the Thunder can offer him more. I've looked at it, I've seen a bunch of people kind of agree on, Thunder Twitter, Reddit pages, Instagram as well, some of those Thunder accounts. Everyone's kind of agreeing we are willing to offer Hartenstein a 2-year, $50 million deal just for him to come here and play for those next 2 years. Sure, it's $25 million a year. That's a large chunk out of our salary. He'd be the second highest paid player on our team, but I think it would be worth it. 100%. Best backup center in the league. Helps out our defense a ton. Helps out our size a ton. Helps out our rebounding a ton. I mean, I think it just fits all across the board. The only downside is he doesn't really run a 5-out style offensive play. That's not really what his game is about. He's more traditional. But I feel like since he'd be in that bench role, it'd be fine. I'd be fine with it. The only need that we would have left after that is finding a power forward to hopefully start for us as well, so we can move Dub down to the 3 like he usually is in, or his more natural position is at, where he can kind of go against guys the same size as him instead of having to go against these nimble power forwards that are 6'10", where it's just kind of hard for him to drive in and play his usual game like he does, go in the mid-range. And so I think if we can also add a power forward along with Isaiah Hartenstein, it would be great. Now, how likely is it that Isaiah Hartenstein will come to us? Well, in the next part of this article here that we're going to read, because the rest of it talks about how Orlando is our other competitor, is where it talks about it. This brings Oklahoma City or Orlando into the mix, and Hartenstein could be a solid addition to both squads. Now, this is when he talks about OKC. Oklahoma City went 57-25 and earned the number 1 seed in the Western Conference. The Thunder would advance to the second round of the playoffs, falling to the Dallas Mavericks. While this was a big season for Oklahoma City, it was the team's return to the playoffs for the first time since 2019-2020, and adding a veteran like Hartenstein could benefit a young star like Chet Holmgren and also provide some stability to the bench. So boom, like I've been saying, keywords there, stability to the bench. It helps us out a ton. Give us a big man to kind of compete as well when we put in our second string, because I felt like when I watched, I've watched the Dallas series time and time again now. I've kind of watched over just to make sure we're confirming what our weaknesses are. I don't think it's the starting unit is the problem. It's just when we put in our bench, we're very undersized. All right, we can't compete with Daniel Gaffords, and even when Jonas Valanciunas was left on the court for the Pelicans when our bench was in, we would struggle. It's just hard to compete against that kind of size for Jay Will. And Jay Will's a great player. I hope he stays on the team for a while. It's just tough. It truly is, okay? And so that's why I think we kind of need to go out there and get Hartenstein for our bench. Our starters can suffice. J-Dub does fine in that 4 role. I think he would do better if we were able to put him in his natural position at the 3 and go get a power forward through trades, or even we'll have, I think, $5 to $6 million left in, cap and free agency to kind of use and spend. Maybe we can get a serviceable 4 with that kind of money. I don't know. Or a trade for someone else out there on the trade market right now. Guy we've talked about, Bobby Portis, might be able to try to put together a trade for that and trade a guy like Isaiah Joe over there and maybe even Ousmane Dieng to kind of balance out the salary caps and everything, since realistically going in the playoffs, we aren't going to go 10 men deep. And we're only going to want to extend either Wiggins or Joe. We won't be able to do both if we want to keep Dub and Chet as well. So it just works out as well. But having Hartenstein on this team would be great. It would be phenomenal. Like it's mentioned in the article, like we've mentioned multiple times on this channel, like we've looked at the stats before, he fills a ton of holes the Thunder need. The size, the, kind of not necessarily veteran leadership because he's still 26 years old, but it helps out coming off the bench. He is a more mature player. He's physical, helps us out rebounding wise. It provides a ton for us. And he knows how to play the bench role well because that's what he's been majority of his career. He's been a bench player, and he can fill in the starting, fill in the starting 5 whenever we have an injury or, we just matches up better. If we go bigger against some teams, like going against the Dallas Mavericks, it would be better to match up big with them and run a 4-out style of offense. So he fills in all these positional needs that we need against teams and also helps us out with the bench. And it just makes the most sense now that he's going to come to OKC after seeing what the Knicks did in free agency so far in the offseason, trading for Mikal Bridges, extending OG Anunoby to that monstrous deal where it's like $42.5 million per year, I believe, which is insane for him. I thought he was just going to get like $30 million. We had a chance to get him still, but seeing that, and it looks more and more likely that they will keep Mitchell Robinson, have him run it, and they're willing to just let Isaiah Hartenstein walk. They're not trying to risk it and be like, okay, we'll trade Mitchell Robinson and see if we can re-sign him. And if he doesn't re-sign, you got rid of both your centers. So it looks more likely they're going to keep Robinson, which leaves us wide open to throw the entire cap space if we want at Isaiah Hartenstein. That way we for sure grab him and not let him go to another team like Orlando, which it seems are our only competitors right now. And I think this is an absolute need. I think him and then maybe a budget baller power forward that can fill in that starting lineup for us, or make a little trade with the Bucks and get Portis. I feel like those two moves, even one of them, if we just do one of them, I feel like it helps us out a ton and can make us a contender immediately and give us really good odds at winning the championship. I truly believe that. But let me know what you guys think in the comments. Let me know if you guys think we should throw the bag at Isaiah Hartenstein, or if you guys think he's overrated for some reason, we don't need him at all. Let me know. I'm really curious because I think as Thunder fans, we want Hartenstein. So let me know in the comments if you guys don't want him and for what reasons, and I'll see you guys in the next video.